All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. It is Friday, June 28th, the last trading day of June here, and last trading day of the quarter as well. Morning, Mike. So we're going to start off next week. It's going to be a new quarter, second half of this year, July 1st, Monday. We got Independence Day coming up, July 4th, also next Thursday there as well. So going to be, I think, a little bit of an interesting day here. I don't exactly know. Let me see one thing real quick. Okay, yeah. All right, so coming into today, we've got S&P's up 0.25%, Nasdaq up 0.12%, Russell up 0.26%, and the Dow up 0.32%. So there's really nothing standing out there except for the fact that the Nasdaq is a little bit weaker on the day for some reason here by about half. So it's not really, within that, 0.05 kind of, somewhere close to the rest of the markets. It's actually half what the S&Ps are. And oddly enough, the Dow is the leader this morning, up 0.32% here. And Dow's been a little bit of a laggard the past few days here. So interesting little kind of shift we've got going on first thing this morning on a percentage change basis here for these markets. And one thing that we do have coming into today is a whole lot of nothing in terms of news. We got some 945 Chicago PMI stuff, some consumer sentiment stuff there, and then again G20 meetings and stuff like that all day. If you're trading Forex, USD CAD, things like that, then this business outlook survey here could impact that at 10:30. So kind of keep that in mind if you are looking at some of those. That may actually move gold just a little bit here, something related to the currencies in the US dollar and things like that. So keep that in mind here. For the regular indices, I don't see much coming out on the day that is going to be moving those in one direction or another outside of just the current setup that we have. So yesterday in the Nasdaq was super. We had a really mixed market. So yesterday in the S&Ps, basically, first 30 minutes of the day, we pretty much stayed inside of that range for the large majority of the day. We kind of poked down a little bit, and then we kind of poked through the highs there a little bit later on in the day. But otherwise, I mean, we pretty much stayed kind of contained inside this zone here. And the Russell, on the other hand, just screamed higher. It's actually screaming higher again right now, 1554.20. That's on session highs for today. Just right off those. And Nasdaq here, pretty much same thing, just went pretty much sideways. Dow actually ended up getting a pullback yesterday into the levels we were looking for, and then ripped out to the upside and finally traded its other level in the overnight session. So we'll take a look at all that. So really kind of a mixed bag of markets, and something I pretty much sat on the sidelines for, except for a swing position there in the Russell. And what I'm thinking for today is we have two things that I believe could happen here. So let's kind of run through those. Number one, here in the S&Ps, we're currently trading 2938.75. So we're somewhere up in kind of this range right in here, right? And we've got a level in place on the day, 2932.50s here, and then 2924 quarters. Between 2924 quarters and 2932.50s is going to be my do not trade zone on the day. So if we kind of come down and trade inside of this zone right here, I am not going to be looking to do anything here with these markets from that. So if that happens, sit on the sidelines, wait for 2924 quarters to break to the downside, and we can start looking at shorts, or wait for the market to get back above 2932.50s, and we can start looking at longs. Now, on a first test here, we're trading 38s right now. On a 6-point pullback here to 32.50s, if we can get that this morning, I think we can take a look at longs off of this level. If we don't get that pullback, we just kind of gap up here, either start working our way higher or work our way higher shortly for a very short amount of time and then fail. How we get to this 2932.50 level, I think, is going to be important for the day to dictate what the rest of the reaction will be off of that level. So if we go higher first, then pull back, I'm less inclined to like the long off 3250s. If we open here, go maybe a little bit sideways, then start to pull back without having gone too high right off the rip, then I like the pullback to 3250s for the S&Ps. And again, inside this zone, do not trade zone, not going to be interested in that whatsoever here on the day. We are breaking or trying to break this hourly downtrend here at the moment, and put ourselves back into an hourly uptrend. That will trigger the daily buy setup in there, and we could see a day similar to what we saw in the Russell from yesterday out of the daily chart here. Again, I don't think that's necessarily going to be today, but maybe Monday, Tuesday of next week, we could see something very similar to the move we saw yesterday in the Russell. So that's what I'm looking for there in the S&Ps. Pretty simple plan for today. I have no short levels above. We can pretty much rally until we can't rally anymore. Not looking for any shorts there. Again, unless we're under 29, 24 quarters. With the Nasdaq here, Nasdaq's a little bit of a different game plan here. And the only reason that I think it's a little bit of different game plan here is you'll notice we've got this topping tail up here to 77.19s in the Nasdaq, and we're currently trading 7,700. So we're pretty much right gapping to yesterday's highs, and that level right there, 96.50, is literally 3 points away in the Nasdaq, which is, I mean, we can move 3 points in no time, and the S&Ps are gapping much further than that. So Nasdaq here a little bit weaker on the day. And this gives me a little bit of reason to believe that this is a possibility today. And that possibility is the fact that we get under 96.50s and stay between 96.50s and 76.70 quarters. If we do that, this is going to be that do not trade zone for me on the day for the Nasdaq. Anything under 96.50s down to 70 quarters here, I'm not looking to get involved with any of that slop and chop and mess in there on the day. So if we quickly get under 96.50s here at the open and start kind of working our way a little bit lower, I'm going to let this thing kind of do its thing inside this area, chop around. And if it wants to come back out of that zone above 96.50s at a later time, maybe 9:50, 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that, then I'll start looking at longs here for the Nasdaq. But I am actually anticipating that this kind of comes into this zone for a little bit here, especially if we are going to get a pullback to 32.50s in the S&Ps. Then I don't think the Nasdaq is going to have the strength to just kind of hold up right here while the S&Ps pull back. So hopefully that's making sense there. And then again, under 76.70 quarters in the Nasdaq on the day, I think we can start looking at short opportunities in there. We've got overnight lows of 76.72, 76.72.25. So we came down about 2 points away from trading that level in the overnight session here. And so far, a decent little rally back, about 30 points or so right here towards the towards where the open will or could be here in the next 15 minutes. So Nasdaq is my least favorite play on the day. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there on the board right now. Nasdaq is absolutely the worst looking play on the day. Again, it may be a little bit better if we didn't have this topping tail in here and we were actually gapping up a bit more. Then Nasdaq could in fact be one of the preferred plays this morning. But right now it is the absolute worst looking chart on the board for today. One of the best looking charts on the board from yesterday here that cannot get pullbacks this morning and just continues to kind of rip out higher here is going to be the Russell. So Russell's got overnight lows of 48.50, overnight highs of 54.70s, which we just set about 10 minutes ago. And the level in the line in the sand for today for the Russell, the level is going to be 15.45.70s. So we needed about another 3 points worth of pullback in the overnight session to even touch that level. And we couldn't even do so, to whereas the Nasdaq traded all the way down to the lower end of its do not trade zone. The Russell can't even get enough of a pullback to touch the top of its support level there. So what I'm kind of looking for out of the Russell today, I don't know that we're going to get, we're currently trading 15.53s. That would be about an 8 point pullback in the Russell to 15.45.70s. I don't know that we're going to see that right off the rip here at the open. I would honestly like to see the Russell just kind of open, do its little gyrations that it normally does, and start to kind of base out and develop a little bit of consolidation, and start to kind of build its base and its footing. And then I think it can kind of rip out a little bit higher, maybe that 10:30, 11:30 time frame, something like that, and get a nice little rally up into 1559.60s. So I think the Russell is actually a breakout trade today. We'll probably be able to bracket the first like 15 minutes of the day for the Russell, maybe the first 30 minutes of the day. Let it trade inside that zone if it will, and then wait for the breakout in the afternoon. That should allow time for the S&Ps to pull back to, hold on one second. There's a spider on my desk. All right, we survived. All right. I don't exactly know where I was. Dude literally went right in front of my keyboard, like looked at me, stopped and looked at me, and then kept on growing. All right, cool. Love Fridays. All right, so for the Russell here, so looking at a move up to 1559.60s today. If we do get that kind of consolidation and then a break up to that level, the only problem with that is if the Russell just kind of rips here and, nice like 6 points right off the open there, we're going to tag that 1559.60s pretty quickly. And then there's not going to be much to do with the Russell, unfortunately. I don't know that it has much through 1559.60s on the day. We'll have to see what that looks like. Maybe there's a possibility for kind of a Nadex fade or some type of position off of that. But yeah, so going to watch for a move up there, 1559.60s in the Russell. Is a spider the same as a black cat? Might have to call it a day. Yeah, no, it's a possibility here. Like, I don't know how he got in front of my keyboard because he came from right to left, so he had to like either go over my arm or under my arm somehow from my mouse, and that part kind of tripped me up too. So, all right. Take a look at the Dow here. So the Dow yesterday ended up having a really nice pullback. We were able to tag that kind of 26,485 level in there, and did finally get the rally up into 26,628. It happened in the overnight session here. So we pretty much came down, tested this level. This 26,596 was not in place yesterday. That's a new level added for today. And the goal was to get up into 26,628. You can see we got the pullback. We were able to hold support and finally able to get up there into 26,628. So for the Dow was the only market yesterday to be breaking through those lows and selling pretty consistently there. There was a small time frame divergence there at about 11:30, 11:35 on the Nasdaq. Excuse me. When Dow was sitting on these 26,485s there, you can see it didn't actually pierce through these lows. If you go into a 5-minute chart, you'll see that a little bit better as to where that divergence occurred for the Nasdaq. Actually, I'll show it to you guys. So picture this bar right here, 11:30. You can see there's a bottoming tail down here on the prior bar of 11:15. And at 11:30, Dow did not break through those lows. And in the Nasdaq at 11:30, 11:35, the Nasdaq did in fact break through those lows. I'm looking at the top left chart, by the way, typically where my face normally sits. And there is a signal in place there that does in fact trigger, and that pushes the Nasdaq back up into its levels of resistance. So that was a really good looking setup there yesterday. Unfortunately, I missed it. I stepped out and went and had lunch, but I had an early lunch yesterday. But anyways, it ended up hitting, we ended up hitting that resistance levels above 26,628. And the question coming into today, Dow is actually gapping up the most here, percentage basis, 0.31% on the day. It's just barely beating out the Russell and the S&Ps here. And what I think is going to be the case for today is if the Dow can hold 26,628 to 26,596 here on any type of pullback. So if S&Ps pull back to 3250s, then I think Dow gets the pullback to 26,596. It actually traded that level pretty much to the tick in the pre-market session here on this last little pullback there. You can see 26,596 traded there, 26,596 traded there to the tick. And so far twice has given us a really nice reaction back up to this 26,628 level. So I would anticipate that if it does trade again in the regular trading hour session, that we'll get a nice reaction out of 26,596. These numbers this morning are a little trippy. Too many sixes in here. So that's what I'm looking for there in the Dow. I did get filled on that spread in the Russell at $8. I got filled in the overnight session, probably like I think 6 something, like right when the Russell kind of reopened, and we popped up in there. So let me actually see. I got filled on that position at 18:09 and 15 seconds. So basically 6:09 last night. So I bought that position in the Russell. I can do a breakdown video on that. I bought that position for $4.35. I sold it for $8, so made $3.65 per one lot in there. I did it 5 times. Russell's $50 a point now, so it ended up being good for. Oh, let me do the math. 3.65 times $50 a point, right? Times a 5 lot. So $912.50 in the Russell there was what the P&L was good for on that one. So I can do a breakdown on that. That was actually the only 2 fills I have from there, was the entry 435s and the exit at $8. So it ended up being a pretty decent little position. Took a little bit of heat on it, but it ended up working out there in the Russell. So, all right, take a look here at gold. So gold's had a pretty decent overnight range. We had this level in place yesterday in gold at 1411.10s. You can see that barely broke there at the end of the day. We finally got above that and kind of closed. Overnight lows there in the gold markets are 1411.30s. Overnight highs, 1427.80s. So kind of way up in here. And I think what ended up happening is kind of gold got a little bit excited yesterday and kind of finished itself out there to the upside in the overnight session. And we'll kind of go back into a little bit of this consolidation and maybe a little bit more of a pullback in the gold markets. And then same thing here in crude. We had this level in place yesterday in crude of 59.73. You can see that traded to the tick. Yesterday's trading action right there, the high 59.73s. We pushed through that level by a little bit this morning, traded 59.80s, and now selling off that. So it does not look like crude is going to get the $60 print this week. 59.73 is coming in as a really nice resistance level in there, and most likely we get a pullback here kind of towards 59.28 on the day in the crude markets. Prayer, I traded that on the TOS platform for futures options in the Russell. It was the 1535 by 1545 call spread in the futures on the RTY. So, all right, guys, that's what I've got for this morning. So, pretty easy game plan here. I think it's going to be less excitement. It's going to be a little bit mellow and kind of chilled, waiting for these levels to trade here. I do think there'll be a little bit of gyrations here at the open. And then I think we could see maybe some gyrations at closer to the end of the day, kind of some, balancing and doing whatever here for the end of the quarter and end of the first half of the year. So I'm going to be cautious of all that. We do have all the G20 meetings like I talked about. A little bit of news, 9:45 and 10 o'clock. I don't think it'll be too much of a market mover. I think we're going to kind of do our own thing today. And if we can get a really good setup, then I'm okay with taking positions on the day. But anything that's subpar, I'm not really going to be paying too much attention to. Going to kind of let those go by the wayside and only focus on what is good, high quality trades to end out the first half of the year and to end out the quarter and to end out the week since it is Friday. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, hanging out. If you enjoyed this content, please give me a thumbs up on this video. If you are new around here, first or second time listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We go live each and every morning about 9 o'clock. Sometimes there's spiders. Hopefully there's never again. But that ended up happening today. So you guys got a little special treat. Luckily my camera was off. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your weekend if you're starting it early. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday. And everyone that's in the MSD Discord, I'll be back in just a couple minutes with the morning power hour. If you guys want to join me in there, there's a link in the description below. That's all I got for you guys today. Take care, trade safe, and I'll see you guys next time.